With 1976 in the rearview mirror, it is time to look ahead to 1977. There is no better way to start than with what is arguably the most popular physical challenge game in the history of The Price is Right. Easily one of my top 10 games and very much an albatross in the hearts of many fans, here we go with 5 fun facts about Hole-in-One, or 2. Number 5. The original one-putt rule. The game was called Hole-in-One from 1977 until 1986, and the game meant it. For the first decade of the game's existence, no matter where you ended up on the green, the contestant received one chance to putt in the ball. No practice balls, just one putt and you win or lose. It wasn't until the Price is Right specials where 2 putts were introduced. Miss the first one, you get a second chance. A rule change that the game sorely needed. It's hard enough to putt as it is, but imagine doing so under such a high-pressure situation. Oof. Number 4. The technical name of the game can be debatable. What makes Hole-in-One so interesting is that its name changes depending on how the player performs. Starting in 1987, the sign was changed, and at first glimpse simply reads Hole-in-One, just like always, as the game is referred to as Hole-in-One. If the contestant misses their putt, Bob hits a plunger and the game officially becomes Hole-in-One or 2. Of course, the or 2 part is left off and revealed dramatically only if necessary, thus leaving for debate what the actual name of the game should be called. Number 3. The drum roll. Why? In the first several months of the game's existence, a player was given a drum roll as they went up to putt. This is completely nonsensical. Drum rolls aren't even used in real golf. If anything, golfers require silence to concentrate. But luckily for everyone involved, this was very short-lived and by 1978 was just a memory. Number 2. Josh Silberman. One of the craziest contestants to ever appear on the show was a young man named Josh Silberman. In 2005, Silberman put all 6 grocery items in order, won the $500 bonus, and putted from the closest line. He then celebrated by, and I can't believe I'm using these words in a sentence, straddling his car, thrusting his hips on it, ran around, and then did a jitterbug-type dance. Clearly, contestants celebrating wildly was a thing even before Bob's retirement. But with all that craziness aside, Silberman has had a respected, prolific career in television as a writer and executive producer for shows like Deal or No Deal, Fear Factor, and The Deadliest Catch. And yes, he is a cousin to one of my top 10 actors of all time, the late, great Jerome Silberman, aka Gene Wilder. And the number 1 fun fact about Hole-in-One, or 2, for the love of golf. There are so many things I could go into here. Bob's inspiration putt stats, all the various guest stars who putted, but I'm just going to keep number 1 simple. Hole-in-One was clearly inspired by Bob's adoration of golf. Part of what made this game so much fun to watch was how excited Bob got when he got to make his inspiration putt from the farthest line, or how much fun he would have when he would get to delegate that putt to someone else, like one of the models, or even a celebrity putter. Obviously, this love of golf would manifest in 1996 when Bob appeared as himself in one of the funniest movies of the decade, Happy Gilmore. Also, would you like to see a Happy Gilmore review? Don't be shy. Let me know. I usually don't cross over into the movie review realm, but I will make an exception here. Squeeze Play is a fast and furious game that takes seconds to play. No electronics, no special effects other than sound effects, and no special on-screen graphics. Squeeze Play gets contestants in and gets them out. Very simple, very basic, yet the show just wouldn't seem right without it. So get ready for a fun enough game and also prepare yourself for one of the most negative rants you will hear from me during this series. You picked a great day to come together with me. Here are 5 fun facts about Squeeze Play. Number 5. It shares its name with a baseball play. Squeeze Play shares its name with one of the most spectacular trick plays in baseball. With a runner at third base, the batter lays down a bunt in an effort to get the runner in from third. Generally, the batter is expected to be thrown out at first, so this is used when one run is desperately needed. Although Squeeze Play shares the name with this baseball play, There is no baseball motif in this game, and the word squeeze literally means to squeeze the numbers together. Number 4. The traditional odds of winning are 33%. In a traditional playing of squeeze play,
you got a 33 and a third chance of winning.
Thank you, Scott. Wins are common and fun for a decent 4-digit prize. And while we're talking about odds, number 3, a bonus digit version. While squeeze play often features a 4-digit price for its prize, there have been times on the show when squeeze play has featured 5 digits in the price. Thus, 6 are played on the game board with the contestant needing to remove one of them. A 25% chance to win a 5-digit prize? Sign me up. Number 2, and you've been warned, the magic is gone. In recent years, it has become commonplace for the stagehand or a celebrity to appear from behind the set being shown operating squeeze play. Now, I have sat here and defended many of the changes that keeps The Price is Right the most watched show on daytime TV, but I'm drawing the line here. What makes the show so much fun to watch is feeling like we're in sort of a magic playhouse of sorts, where boards move automatically like magic and then big prizes change lives. By breaking the fourth wall like this, it absolutely ruins the illusion. This is akin to a magician telling all of his secrets, which is the worst sin a magician can make. Yes, stagehands are people too. As someone who literally works behind the scenes, I say, get over it and bring them on later. Don't make them pop out from the set while they do their jobs. This is a disgrace to the show. As far as I'm concerned, I have no problems with male models, set modernizations, George Gray, crazy contestants, or even Drew himself. But making the magic disappear just sucks. You know what else sucks? Daytime television. Look at this chart. This is how many people watch it now compared to when the show premiered in 1972. The Price is Right would have been canceled midway through day 1 with these numbers back then. So keep upending the magic of the show and see how far those dwindling ratings will get you. Alright, I feel better now. Let's end the review on a fun note. The number 1 fun fact about squeeze play: the game is constantly malfunctioning. Wait, how is this a fun note? Think about it. Probably the most famous part of squeeze play is that the game is constantly malfunctioning. As I mentioned in the Switcheroo review, these malfunctions are what makes watching the show so much fun. In particular, Bob's reactions to the games when they do malfunction, whether he's being dramatically over the top or passive aggressive, they're all hilarious in their own way. And as long as the show continues to find ways that don't involve breaking the rules of illusions, then we'll all be just fine. Tic-tac-toe is arguably one of the world's most famous games, but it also has its flaws. The same can be said of the tic-tac-toe inspired game Secret X. By no means one of my favorite games, it is still one that fans would be devastated to have retired. So as I continue to review every pricing game in the history of the US daytime version of The Price is Right, here we go with 5 fun facts about Secret X. Number 5. The game's creation. Secret X was created by Kathy Greco while she was still a production assistant. Greco worked her way up to producer before retiring in 2011, lasting, if my math is correct, approximately 36 years with one show. Now that is an incredible feat. Greco also created the games Line 'em Up and Pick a Pair, and on her final day, all 3 games in the second half of the show were games that she created. A very cool tribute to one of the most important people The Price is Right has ever had. Number 4. The middle row. If a contestant plays the middle row, they have reduced their chances of winning drastically, as 1x would even go completely to waste. Thus, there is an unwritten rule that the 3 X's the contestant plays should always go in the corners to maximize their chance of winning. Even if the contestant plays the game perfectly, they still have only a maximum 66% chance of winning, and the rest is pure luck, which is a big reason why I'm not thrilled with this game. Number 3. The game once appeared on The Talk. While this itself isn't that special, it's one of the very few times that I'll actually get to talk about the afternoon CBS talk show that has had shall we say, quite a revolving door of cast members over the last several years. The Talk is just another daytime panel show much like The View on ABC, where people chat, laugh, and debate in front of a live audience and essentially waste our time for an hour of network television each and every day. Number 2. Making the best of malfunctions. The Secret X board, much like the previously premiered Squeeze Play, is quite prone to malfunctions. This isn't a bad thing though. As I said in many past reviews, the way Bob handled the many technical errors the games have given us over the years is just as entertaining as watching the games themselves. And the number 1 fun fact about Secret X, it debuted on the show's most infamous day. On the day that Secret X was to debut, something happened earlier in the episode that upstaged its first appearance and then some. Yep, this was the same day as the Yolanda incident when a contestant in a tube top came on down, and the top came down too. Either way, whether we're talking about the debut of Secret X or Yolanda's tube top, either gave us a whole new meaning to the term Triple X. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at what is widely considered to be the worst, most failed game in Price is Right history. You are about to see what happens when a truly bad idea actually makes it to air. How ironic that this nightmare fuel is being released on Halloween weekend. This might be my biggest challenge to date. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Professor Price. First off, an honorable mention. This game is playable as part of the Price is Right Decades video game. Would you like for me to let's play the Price is Right Decades at some point down the line? Let me know in the comments. But for now, here's the main list. Number 5. It's played with general knowledge trivia. What makes Professor Price so unique is that it is a complete departure from the way every other game on the show is played. On this game, contestants are asked questions like, how many ounces are in a pint? Or how many runs are in a grand slam? This has pretty much nothing to do with the core gameplay of The Price is Right, which is to guess prices or play in such a way that it involves the cost of an item, not answering such basic questions without the help of, oh, actually, that leads me to... Number 4, the audience couldn't help. As I've explained before, one of the things that makes the show so good is the loud, boisterous audience participation encouraged in most games. But here, none of that is allowed. The audience must remain quiet and not help the contestant as they try to come up with their generally commonly known answers to simple questions. This is less like The Price is Right and more like 3rd grade quiz bowl. It really drains the energy out of an already exciting show. Number 3. It made a brief reappearance in 2021. Relax, the game never came back, it was part of a tribute. During playings of Cover Up during the 50th season, various years were highlighted on the covers, and yes, one of them was the man, the myth, the legend himself, Professor Price. I'm sure seeing him brought back a flood of nostalgia to anyone on the team who would have remembered the game as a youth, so that's pretty cool. Number 2. It is the shortest lived game in Price is Right history. This game, 45 years later, still sets the record as being the fastest game ever retired. Professor Price lasted not 1, but 2 playings before it was abruptly sent to the showers. Its reason being that no one liked it. It's almost bizarre that a game this different, this elementary, and this convoluted even made it to air in the first place. Retiring the game quickly was smart, considering that if even Bob himself couldn't get behind it, then no one else would. And the number 1 fun fact about Professor Price... it has a perfect win-loss record. This might be the only positive fact on this list. Professor Price was played twice and won twice. It has a perfect 2-0 record, and while Double Bullseye also has a perfect record, each game was forced to have a winner and it couldn't be played without anyone losing. So, this game is a perfect record. Does that in some backwards way make it a perfect game? Is it theoretically possible to call Professor Price the greatest game in the history of the show? I guess unless something wild happens during the show's upcoming seasons, we may never know. Well, with 1977 behind us, we have reached likely our most polarizing year yet, the games of 1978. This year is infamous for debuting some great games, including one of my top 5 games of all time, but mostly it is known for debuting a handful of games that failed very quickly. Giddy up, because here we go with 5 fun facts about Finish Line. Number 5. Another game based on a sport. Finish Line is yet another game based on a physical sport in the same vein as cliffhangers and hurdles. Horse racing was at a fever pitch in the 1970s, with Seattle Slew winning the Triple Crown the year prior, and Secretariat famously winning it in 1973, the first one in 25 years. And then, wouldn't you know it, Affirmed would also win just mere months after the game's debut in 1978. 3 Triple Crowns in the same decade. And just to show how rare it is, there wouldn't be another Triple Crown winner until 2015. Number 4. It closely resembles another game. The gameplay of Finish Line very closely resembles that of a game that debuted years earlier. If Finish Line reminds you of Give or Keep, that's because the basic ideas of gameplay are very similar. 3 pairs of prizes, and the contestant must pick the higher one, except instead of a keep and give column, it's a horse in a race against the finish line. Very similar, but with the added effects. Number 3. The game's music cues. As has been the case with the physical sports games of recent years, Finish Line had music that was played which was very recognizable to the mainstream audience. The call to the post, which is known properly as First Call, is the first call in the Army manual. How it went from military to horses is a bit unclear through history. The song played during the race, the Light Cavalry Overture, is used quite often today in everything from TV commercials to feature films. Number 2. The game suffered from major mechanical failures. As the angry video game nerd has said, what's the most important thing about a game? To be able to play it, of course. And Finish Line had problems right out of the gate. The game was almost immediately suspended for 3 months to address these issues, but it just never seemed to work out right. And the number 1 fun fact about Finish Line, it was retired after only 7 months. Finish Line didn't even make it to the end of 1978, being retired after only 4 actual months of activity, not including its hiatus. Would this game work better today? Highly doubtful, considering how much less popular horse racing is today compared to this era. Honestly, it would be better off to keep this game retired and just bring back the ever-popular Give or Keep. One of the few highlights of 1978, Take-Two is a quick game that can get 4 prizes out the door in no time. Pick the 2 prizes, when added together, create the target price, and you win them all. There isn't much to talk about with this game as it is so straightforward, but I'll do what I can because all pricing games means all pricing games. So here we go with 5 fun facts about Take-Two. Number 5. The game's appearance. Take-Two had, taken 2 major overhauls in appearance since its 1978 debut. Early editions of the game had a pink board with a large back brace. In 1983, this was replaced by the yellow version, which might be the most popular one. And then in 1997, the game was replaced by what we still see today. Fonts have also changed over the years, but otherwise no dramatic overhaul of the game's visuals have happened in the last 25 years. Number 4. A play-along game. Since this game did utilize the play-along concept, I figured this would be a great time to discuss it as I may not get another opportunity. In a designated play-along game, a viewer who sent in a postcard and was eligible could win the same prizes won by the in-studio contestants if their name was announced on the air. Nice little bonus for the viewer, even if it doesn't add much to the pacing of the show. Then again, with the show being 10 minutes longer than today's version, it's easy to throw in stuff like this without much difficulty. Number 3. The target price is chosen at random. There is likely no rhyme or reason to the target price that is chosen. When the actual retail prices of the 4 prizes are confirmed, 2 of which are created at random to create the target price. A contestant has a 1/3 chance of winning this game and a 100% chance of having a great time playing it. Number 2. It went on a year-long hiatus. Well, almost a year. Between December of 2008 and October of 2009, Take-Two was put away for a time. Kind of reminds me of when my favorite band of all time, the Smashing Pumpkins, stopped playing the song Quiet after the 1994 Siamese Dream Tour, and then in 2022, played it out of nowhere. Just like Take-Two, it wasn't dead, it was just resting. But that leads me to the number one fun fact about Take-Two: it was once in danger of retirement. Take-Two might have been just another victim of the curse of 1978, but luckily that didn't happen. The game suffered from an electronic malfunction, a common reason for games of this era to be quickly scrapped. But luckily for us, the problem was quickly resolved and the game lived on and is still played to this day. Folks, I'm sorry that this review is a little dry, but next week is going to be wet. So wet, you might feel like you're in the shower. I am very excited for what's to come. Oh boy, you thought Professor Price was an unmitigated disaster. Here we go with another of the shortest, most unsuccessful games in the history of The Price is Right. 6 showers are presented to a contestant. 3 have confetti, 2 have $100, and 1 has the car. If you get the confetti, you keep going until you win either the car or the money. Sound awful? To most viewers, yes. Don't forget your soap and washcloths, because here we go with 5 fun facts about Shower Game. Number 5. The contestant always wins. The way this one is set up, a contestant shouldn't walk out of the studio empty-handed. But what separates this game from other guaranteed winner games is the embarrassment of being hit with confetti if you entered the wrong shower. Odd, considering that the idea of using confetti as a humorous embarrassment doesn't make too much sense, considering that it's more so used to celebrate big victories rather than defeats. But when it comes to Shower Game, logic is merely a fool's errand. Number 4. It was played 10 times in 3 months. Much like Finish Line, as well as another game coming up in the not-too-distant future, this game of 1978 did not live to see the end of 1978. It was retired after almost 3 months of gameplay. During that time, it was played 10 times and the car was won only 3 of those times. While a win-loss record shouldn't be the ultimate deciding factor of a game, no one wants to watch a game where the only strategy is to pull a string and not get hit with confetti. Number 3. It wasn't the only game to debut that day. September 4th, 1978 was a big day on the show because not only did Shower Game premiere, but another game popped up on the same day, and while it too has since been retired, it lasted a lot longer and offered a huge prize, or should I say, prizes, to the contestant. But I'll get into that one a little bit more next time. Number 2. It was the largest prop of any pricing game. As of 2022, the Shower Game prop remains the largest in the history of the show. I mean, it could barely fit in any of the camera shots because it was so big. But then again, fitting 6 full-size showers on a stage is no small task. Before I continue, I just want to say that I am specifically not mentioning the controversy behind the game being disliked because the showers resembled gas chambers. It is just simply not something that is worth mentioning on a list of this nature, and that's all I'm going to say about that for this particular list. And the number 1 fun fact about Shower Game: the game was retired because it simply wasn't good. In the end, Shower Game failed to have the rising action, drama, and resolution that makes good pricing games worth watching. When it comes to Shower Game, there is no strategy and there is no excitement. You have to be invested in the game somehow, and Shower Game cannot provide that. While a very few select people may love the concept, the vast majority didn't, and the game was gone before the dreadful year of 1978 even ended. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need a shower. How would you feel walking out of The Price is Right with not just 1, but 2 cars? That was the drawing point of the game It's Optional. Though popular at the time, it is yet another game of 1978 that is no longer played today. Let's let this brutal year continue. Here we go with 5 fun facts about It's Optional. Number 5. It premiered the same day as Shower Game. As I mentioned in the Shower Game review, there are 2 new games that premiered on September 4th, 1978. The very short-lived Shower Game was one new game, while It's Optional was the other. Although neither is still played today, Shower Game was by far the much less successful game, having been retired almost as quickly as it debuted, whereas It's Optional lasted until 1983 and maintained popularity throughout its entire run. Number 4. It was the first game to give away multiple cars. Very few games have offered multiple cars, and its optional was the very first one to do so. Easily, it is the one thing that people remember most about this game 40 plus years later. Of course, Triple Play would feature 3 cars as prizes, but we won't get to that one for a little while as that game didn't premiere until the year 2000. Number 3. A slight rule change. In the first playing of its optional, there was one slight change that could have potentially made the game extremely difficult to win. The player picked up all of their options up front, as opposed to one at a time, giving them no real baseline for what to select. There was also no limit as to how many options could be selected, as opposed to later limitations placed. Although the game was won, were these changes really necessary? Well, that leads me to... Number 2. It had a 60% winning percentage. More people won their 2 cars than lost on its optional, but not by much. 27 out of 45 playings resulted in wins. This seems like a decent number to me, but win percentage satisfaction is something that is extremely subjective with viewers. Do you think that number is too low? Do you think 60% is a little too easy for a game with such high stakes? Let me know in the comments because I am curious what many of today's viewers have to say about that. And the number 1 fun fact about its optional, it was retired due to contestants not knowing the price of car options. This is another element I'm curious what people thought of. According to my research, the game was likely retired for this reason. Yet the game still had plenty of winners, and it seemed well liked into its retirement year of 1983. It could also be argued that the game bore a great similarity to Cliffhangers, but that still doesn't explain its sudden retirement after 5 years of giving away 2 cars. Either way, its optional seems to be a very missed game, and though it's likely it will never come back, that's the nice thing about videos like this one. We can remember them all together as fans. 1978 has been a tough year, but we have finally reached a game that is not only still played today, but is also one of the most popular and beloved games in the show's history. Punch-a-Bunch is one of my top 5, and I will stop what I'm doing and watch it every time it's on without fail. So let's get those fists warmed up because here we go with 5 fun facts about Punch-a-Bunch. Number 5. It was the first all-cash game. You knew the next game was going to be special when you heard the harp cue before the introduction of the prize, and that's what made Punch-a-Bunch so unique from the beginning. It was the first game to exclusively give away cash. Not including second chances, the top dollar value was $10,000, later $25,000 in 2008, to even bigger amounts on big money weeks and primetime specials. And while there have been some playings that will give away a car, it's the money that really stands out as to why Punch-a-Bunch is so much fun. Number 4. Second chances. According to my research, the second chance was part of the game until 2011, where a contestant could make a second punch and have a dollar amount added to whatever they initially drew. This always added a little bit of interest to the game, but why it was stopped is boggling. I would guess with the show needing to rush through everything, and second chances adding time to the segment, it was just something else that took too long to play, as it would add unforeseen time to the game's playing. As I've said before, it's unfortunate that the show needs more ad time to keep it on the air, but there would also be no show if it wasn't for the ad time. Such a double-edged sword. Number 3. Cosmetic changes. The punch board has always been a stunning non-electronic set with 50 holes and 50 random dollar amounts spread throughout. There have been modernizations to mostly the logo and the color scheme of the game as colors and sets modernize, but otherwise the game pretty much remained the same. Maybe they should have kept Bob Barker's face in the $25,000 bill though. Better yet, maybe the Department of Printing and Engraving should reintroduce the once largest denomination $10,000 bill and replace Salmon P. Chase's picture with Bob Barker. Come on guys, let's get on that. Number 2. The Empty Hole. In 1989, something kinda silly happened. A contestant made a punch, and when Bob went in to pull out the slip, there was no slip. Someone goofed. And how was this handled? The contestant won the money. In cases like this, it's always better to err in favor of the contestant. Of course, it was always an option to reshoot the game, but this was a much more satisfying and realistic conclusion. I can't disagree with this move at all. Good job, Bob. And the number 1 fun fact about Punch-a-Bunch, Brian. One of the most memorable contestants to play the game, or really any game on the show, was Brian. In 1996, Brian made his punches and earned a $5,000 slip. He then gives it back knowing that he had a less than 5% chance of finding anything bigger. The audience was shocked, but not as shocked as when Bob pulled out the next slip, and believe it or not, it was $10,000! Easily one of the most memorable moments to happen in one of the best games in Price is Right history. The good news is we have reached the last game of 1978. The bad news is it might be the worst of the worst bunch of games to ever be the worst. It is time to put this absolutely atrocious year behind us with one of the most atrocious games to ever air on The Price is Right. Spare me a dime because here we go with 5 fun facts about Telephone Game. Number 5. It was originally available thanks to Wink Martindale. Several years ago on the Wink Martindale YouTube channel, an excellent high-quality upload of this game became quite popular. Although it appears to no longer be available, it was nice to have this awful mess of a game so readily available, even if only for a short time. Thanks, Wink. Number 4. A contestant couldn't win all the prizes. The way this game worked, if the contestant was able to make a call, they would win one of the prizes. Unlike any number where the contestant is guaranteed to walk away with at least a few bucks and change, this game has the option of having the contestant win 1 prize or 0 prizes. Having said that, the two are similar in that a contestant can't win every prize offered, but when it comes to Telephone Game, that's the least of my worries. Number 3. Only 1 car. Yup, the car was won only once during the 3 playings of this game. Just another reason why the Telephone Game was as bad as it was. Yeah, I am grasping at straws on this one. I promise it's going to be all uphill from here. Number 2. As I said, it was played only 3 times. You know it's a bad year when you can look at the mere 3 playings of Telephone Game and say, hey, at least it wasn't Professor Price. The 3 playings of this game might very well be 3 times too many. And the number 1 fun fact about Telephone Game, it was retired for being lame. That's right, Telephone Game was terrible. In the last 2 years since I started this series, I have seen opinions of all kinds. Some people hate Plinko and Cliffhanger, some people loved Mystery Price, and I even got a threat of violence from someone who thought Shower Game was the best game in the show's history. But it's hard to find anyone who really misses Telephone Game. It's just a bad game that never even escaped the disastrous year of 1978. And finally, it's over. On to 1979 with a new outlook.